The bruise in the eyeball is going away day by day. AI-powered robot massage lingers a little too much in the glutes, in my opinion. LinkedIn founder and billionaire Reid Hoffman defaked himself for self-reflection.
Who cares if we're burning cash like it's a bonfire? We're getting to the front of the line, baby.
It turns out AI really likes to add a second thumb to its hand, and it does great gripping with it. Neuralink patient shows what brain-computer interfaces are really like day to day.
The calibration is something that I do in order to give me control of the cursor.
It turns out OpenAI is paying its top researchers an astonishing $865,000 per year on average. Targeted AI-powered listening device lets you look at somebody in a crowd and hear only what they're saying. Historians credit human tool use for our dominance of the planet. Now Anthropic's AI Claude can use them too. ElevenLabs debuted a new tool that lets you create sound effects. It's awesome. AI can now write better restaurant reviews than humans, so be skeptical next time you go out for sushi. The South Park creators are so far ahead now in AI-driven content, it's kind of crazy. But first, let's check out Alan's conservative countdown to AGI, and we are at 74% of the way there. All right, let's start with the latest in robotic massages. I hope that thing can't crush your back, because if it's got a bug in it, I feel like that could be really dangerous. Or maybe that table would collapse or something, like in the WWE. I don't know. But even assuming it is safe and you can figure out a way to relax knowing that like robots that aren't humans and could have super strength are pushing on you. Like, I just don't know. I feel like human touch, like something like massages and hugs and being cared for might not be the best thing to always outsource to computers. Like have some human touch to it would be pretty awesome, I think. I mean, I guess that would feel good. I do have one of those like guns or whatever that's like, brrr, I put that thing on my back, so I can't be a hypocrite. It's just that I can control how much pressure that is, and it doesn't linger on my glutes like that for like a extra long amount of time. I don't know. Yeah, you know, that's just too much, I think. But I guess like they say, quote, it's designed to mimic the precise movements of a skilled human masseuse, ensuring that every stroke and pressure point is addressed with pinpoint accuracy. I mean, he's got a point. These robots have no healing energy. I don't know where their healing energy is going to come into play. I wonder if it'll understand if I tell them I'm hurt. I doubt it. All this metal is extracted from Earth, destroying the ecosystem for what? Question mark. To substitute humans in their jobs? Question mark. What's the point? Question mark. But like in the traditional practice, it's much more than a mechanical pressure. It's a healing intent that is delivered by the practitioner through physical contact that robots just aren't able to replace. Yeah, where's your healing intent when you're on the glutes like that, you know? Hey, look, billionaire Reid Hoffman made a digital twin of himself, a deep fake that has read all the books he's ever written, listened to all the podcasts he's ever been on, and consumed all his media to understand who he is. And then powered by GPT-4 as a custom-tuned model, he decided to interview himself.
Why would I want to be interviewed by a digital version of myself?
I don't know, I guess like looking at yourself in the mirror or something, but it talks back to you?
Hello, everyone. I'm thrilled to be here today. I'm an AI-generated version of Reid Hoffman. I may excel as a video host for content with extensive data, frequent updates, or multiple languages, thanks to my ability to process and present information accurately without human limitations like fatigue or language barriers.
Oh my God, no fatigue or language barriers? Multiple languages? Excessive knowledge? Hit that subscribe button now before there's too much like AI content out there.
Again, one of the things where you have a superpower that I don't, I have no idea what the Klingon stands for.
And now for a Klingon, Vittelheg duj luchar glutavistelhab e dochvam viol, hoch competition vipo qa market dahara.
I don't know, I feel like it's just billionaires toying around with stuff right now, but... All right, think about your hand. What if you had another thumb, right? 4 thumbs total. Imagine the kind of gripping that you could do. Humans who got this 3rd thumb just loved it. 98% of them successfully manipulated an object with their 3rd thumb. Pretty much all of them did it within the first minute. I think it's very natural because we kind of have thumbs mirrored. We both know on our right and our left hand how they fit. So just putting an extra one on both sides is like, boom. You know, some evolutionary psychologists even credit the thumb as like the reason that we dominate the planet right now. It was that gripping motion and the thumb moving down that allowed us to do tool usage, and then started the chicken or egg cycle of kind of increasing our intelligence to use better and better tools to control fire, to get more protein, all that stuff. So it makes sense to me that once Apple's done with like the Apple Vision Pro and the Apple Watch, and they're thinking about other things that they can add to our bodies, that they could maybe use artificial intelligence and the understanding of the thumb to focus on giving us each second thumb. So look for that soon, I think. So a Neuralink patient named Nolan Arbaugh has actually uploaded a long form video of just what it's like for him to use Neuralink all day. And I will say that I guess I didn't really think or understand day to day how convenient it might be, especially for somebody who doesn't have the ability to use a mouse, but for anybody in the future to just look and think about where the mouse should be and be able to click, point, drag, right click with just the thought of what you want.
So this is the Link app. The Link app is how I am able to control this computer.
But look, Neuralink actually just has an app, like the way you would imagine getting a new mouse and like programming the buttons, that lets you think in certain ways to do certain things on the computer.
This is Eve, my implant, which I named. This is the calibrate section. The calibration is something that I do in order to give me control of the cursor. Basically, it's the process of the Link app learning what my brain signals, like learning to map my brain signals.
It's interesting that you have to map your thoughts to the actions on the computer like that. And so he's playing this game to see how well the target is hitting, and that's also calibrating it more and more.
I think the record at the Neuralink office is around 18, which is a ridiculous number. On average, I would say the people at Neuralink can manage about 10 BPS, which is bits per second. And I am not quite there yet. Like I said, I just got to 8.
So yeah, look at this game. It's kind of like Snake, where you're just like moving around trying to avoid bumping into things, and how quickly he can navigate around. In theory, it seems like you could be so much faster than a mouse. Imagine a shooting game like Counter-Strike or Overwatch or something, where you just look at the target and it's just like it's directly on, and then it makes the shot. You know, it would just be so fast compared to actually needing to move the mouse. All right, so if you weren't paying attention during the intro and you want to take a guess as to how much the average top researcher at OpenAI is making, do it now, and then probably double it, and then probably double it again. In 2023, the salaries of the top AI ML researchers has reached an astonishing level, with some earning close to $1 million per year as a base salary, bonuses, and equity. You know, honestly, if you are a $1 trillion company and you are pushing the frontier and you believe that AGI is the last invention man ever needs to make, because it will invent all the inventions after that and it will scale way beyond anything humans ever have, then $1 million a year is probably nothing. You should probably spend 10, 15, 100 times that, just get the job done. Of course, being that reckless will also put us at risk of destroying the world and letting everything get out of control and productizing something that is too important to productize, but whatever. And better you do it than the other guys, right? It's the race condition that is the biggest risk of all. OpenAI, for instance, has been rumored to be offering an eye-popping $10 million package to lure researchers away from Google. Oh, a $10 million package to bring you all that information that I learned at DeepMind? That's got to be pretty tempting. We also heard that Zuckerberg, this is a different article from the past, was actually calling researchers at Google personally and saying, hey, can you come work for Meta AI? So all the way to the CEO spending his time on recruiting. So imagine putting on a headphone that's noise canceling and then being able to look at anybody you want in a crowd and hear what they're saying where everybody else is noise canceled around them. That's the stuff of like CIA spy movie science fiction stuff, and that kind of technology in its infancy is here today.
Headphone system, it's called Look1 here. We have this off-the-shelf noise cancelling headphone, and we've attached 2 binaural microphones on the right and the left.
And binaural meaning that there's 2 microphones, one on each headset, each where your ears are basically, and they're capturing the room, and the difference between when sound hits one than the other, the same way we have binocular vision to tell depth, it can kind of tell depth. It can tell how far a sound is, and if you look at it, it can measure how far away that is and then cancel out everything else based on complicated math, but it actually makes sense and kind of works if you get the math right.
You can press a button on the right while looking at me for a couple seconds, which will record a sample of my voice. From that point on, you'll only be able to hear my voice while suppressing any other sound, including speech, in the environment.
Oh, so they sample the speech for a minute and then they can figure out what frequencies and tones those are at, and I guess use those to help amplify and everything else to cancel out or remove.
A particular person, the mouth is located at equal distances towards your ears, and so a sound will arrive at the same time across both ears.
Yeah, because I was wondering, how do you know the distance? I figured it was something like a LiDAR or something that was in the headphones, but no, it's just when the distance is exactly equal to the ear, then you know that you're heading forward. Interesting.
The headphone system uses AI technology to extract the voice that wearer wants to hear while ignoring like all sounds in the environment from that point on.
And then comes the AI algorithm and boom, you've got isolated voice. My gosh, if I had these over the last couple of weeks, I've been in so many coffee shops, I know I'd look over and people be like, dude, what's with that guy's eye? Is he bleeding? Like, what is wrong with that eye? That is gross. I'd pick up my headphones and be like, there's just a broken blood vessel. Give me a break. It happens to everyone. Some people get them just from sneezing. Now, in the past, I worked for a company called Zappos, which is owned by Amazon, and it's an online retailer, and we specialized in shoes, and part of what they're known for was their customer service. So the onboarding process, and every Christmas we had to get on the phones for a little bit and use the CRM, the customer relationship management system, to look people up once they verified their information. We could see what was going on with their orders. We could help them shop. We could do returns, all sorts of stuff like that. So it needed a tool for us to use. Now, Claude, which is a large language model, does great conversational tones, hasn't been able to actually connect to a tool like that before, but now it can.
Empowered with tool use to look up information and take actions on the user's behalf in order to solve their problems. Claude will use names, descriptions, and types to learn how to best use your tool. Let's give it a try. Let's say I'm a customer who's worried one of my recent orders won't arrive soon enough.
So here it has to kind of do the same thing. It says, oh, I want to help you with your order, but I need to look you up some way. Can you please give me your email address?
When the model uses a tool, this typically wouldn't be shown to the user, but we're showing it here to give you a look under the hood.
Okay, so then you can see the code here, which they want to show to the user, but we can see it, and it's got this JSON formatted information that it's got a response from. So it knows a handful of things now that it can use in natural language by converting from this reply.
Now, for tools that have an irreversible effect, like deleting data, or in this case, canceling an order, we recommend that the developer build in a cancellation flow so that the user can approve them before that's actually done.
I mean, that does look like a very, this is a very human response. Since the third one won't arrive soon enough, I'd like to cancel it. Okay, let me go ahead and cancel it. I mean, I use Amazon all the time. I would love to just chat in a natural way, like large language style. In fact, just today I was on Amazon doing something that, it was more frustrating than it would have been with a large language model. I needed to get a new, coffee mug, I carry around a reusable thing, and it's just getting old in its time. But I couldn't remember the name of the company, and I typed in coffee, and it didn't show up. And then I typed in thermos, and it's like, thermos is its own brand, and that's not the one that I had from my search history, so it didn't come up again. And then I remember the name of it is like Cognito or something, and I've seen the logo a million times, but I can't even remember how to say it right, and I didn't have it with me. And then I had to go search for coffee mugs, and then I found another one that was similar by that brand. I cut and pasted it, put it in. It was doable, but it was kind of dumb the way I went about it. Like that. I love a large language model, maybe with a camera inside of my fridge right now saying hey, how long will the carrots last for when I'm at the grocery store, over my phone, and it connected that way. Or a microwave where I'm just heat up this cup of coffee and it goes out on the internet and asks how long it should microwave it for and just does that for me automatically. And it's those kind of tools that eventually will connect to these large language models that Claude is kind of paving the way in. And to be honest, ChatGPT and all the stuff they've done with the APIs over at OpenAI do this also. But it's interesting just to see Claude connected now. It's hot on the heels of OpenAI. So if you feel like you need your own personal soundtrack for your life and you've always wanted a custom applause, roaring applause every time you've said something, you can now do that with ElevenLabs. Check this out. Imagine the next time your friend makes a bad joke. What did the triangle say to the circle? You're pointless. Hello, is anyone home? And without further ado, I present to you Grimlock. Bro, we got a lot of coding to do. Wake up. That can all be done through an API. Maybe Claude connects to ElevenLabs and then you ask for some sound effects, stores that out there. This is all happening. All right, so a new study out of Yale found that human testers often mistook AI written reviews for genuine ones and even believe them to be more authentic than actual human reviews. Now remember, large language models don't eat food, which is very deceptive of them. So by generating fake reviews with GPT-4 and mixing them with real one, they discovered that participants could only correctly identify the AI reviews about 1/3 of the time. And look, if you end up going to a dumpling restaurant that is kind of mid, no big deal. But you know that's probably the same for misinformation around politics and healthcare and all that other stuff too. And we've already seen some examples: a fake robocall from President Biden, a fabricated recording of a school principal delivering a racist anti-Semitic rant. Even when caught, the best law enforcement could do was charge them with other crimes like stalking and disrupting school activities. Okay, so the article that's probably most interesting to me, I have been thinking about what the guys from South Park, who created a company originally called Fable Studios, it's been renamed now, or at least they're building a product and not going by that name anymore, right? They funded some research and started building some prototypes of an entire little South Park world where LLMs are like writing the script and there's other tools that are doing the animation, and they live in this entire environment and they talk with one another, and you can build comic into the outline of how it's all going to play out and where the cameras focus in and all of this stuff that was so incredibly forward thinking just like last year, maybe a little bit before that. And I was like, this is amazing. Like, I think I would love to own 1% of Fable Studios. Those guys are going to disrupt the entire industry, I think, or get acquired by one of the big guys like Netflix to do it, you know, to build off of. So when they revealed the simulation, which is essentially the Netflix of AI, I was like, here it comes. Let's see what this is like, because Showrunner is the platform that they built to generate all of this AI content. And now it seems like it's up and running in some early ways. All right, so I'm going to join the wait list. I mean, having access to the South Park IP is pretty awesome. I mean, I would argue that some of those cartoons, like The Simpsons, Family Guy, South Park, Rick and Morty maybe, they would be some of the best content. Like, they're animated, they have these gigantic worlds, that they have all these characters that you could just build around, and since they're cartoons, they don't really age, they're not individual people. Like, I think it'd be amazing to just start building this, like, everyone gets their own South Park episode. So yeah, look at this lineup. Pixels looks like the Cars kind of thing. They've got this Star Trek looking show here. Exit Valley, Sim San Francisco, United Flavors. Do they just have straight up South Park or no? All right, let's try Exit Valley. A hilariously irrelevant satire. We dive headfirst into the binary heart of Silicon Valley. Yeah, I just started watching Silicon Valley, you know, the old TV show from like a decade ago. And I kind of lived a little bit of that life and just never actually watched that show. And I regret it so much. It is so funny. I'm like halfway through season 1. I've been watching it with my friends. But yeah, maybe I'm going to have to get into Exit the Valley next. Not your ordinary television show. It's immersive simulation of the iconic city of San Francisco. Oh, we've got a long wait list, but we're starting to let in small groups of people to get started making comedy AI TV shows. Okay, I'll fill this out. Oh, if you could make an AI TV show, what would you make it about? Let's see. I like Rick and Morty style humor, so it'd be kind of a multiverse science fiction thing. The main characters would be lame Transformers, like the lazy ones that don't try to save the world from the Decepticons. I imagine it would probably be kind of like Star Trek Lower Decks, if you guys like that show. All right, there we go. Application submitted. Oh man, I hope I'm the first. Maybe for once I could even beat Matt Wolf to the punch. I don't know. What if they give me access before him? Because I signed up for it today. Like Showrunner, the software, at least what they demoed before, you can watch, direct, star in the show, you set the virtual environments, you populate it with characters, and you use basic prompts to like build out the beginning, middle, and end of a natural story arc. And there's been talk that they have a rev share model, which would be really interesting. It would be smart if they power it like almost like a social network where you like build shows. Maybe they're constrained in some ways, so they have to hit like, you know, the 30-minute format or something, and they have some kind of coherency, but a lot of people can go in and try to make them and see if they can build up their own followings around their own brands. Like, I would love that. All right, so we're talking about a new framework here called 3D Scenes, and it's very powerful. It's meant to edit scenes both in 2 and 3D using language prompts. And the gist of it is that they're using this thing called the language-guided disentangled Gaussian splattering to transform any 2D image into a 3D scene. And once you have that 3D scene, the objects, because of that Gaussian splattering technique, which we talked actually about in the last video, as the first time I'd learned about it, so it might have been a kind of a mid-explanation, but I think I get it. Essentially, like chunks of pixels get kind of blurred together. That's the Gaussian, and they have their own depth to it. So you can make 2D scenes three-dimensional based on the types of pixels that would be in different depths, like sky stuff and trees are often like further away than, you know, stuff that's normally close up, like hands and feet, which are really close to the individual usually. So it learns all that stuff. It can make 3D scenes, and then from it you can now describe with a large language model, you know, change the shoes on somebody, and it's going to know the depth of the shoes, and it's going to go ahead and do that, and then shoes like this get swapped out. Okay, but let's see just how 3D aware these images are. So what do we got here in terms of examples? All right, move the girl, then delete the girl, then rotate the camera. So you start here and then you say move the girl. So I guess she takes a few steps forward, the camera pulls back, and then rotate the camera. Obviously, if you rotated it around, she would be gone. And that generally, I guess, does kind of look like what might be behind her. All right, so you got this dog here that's made of, looks like when you're blowing glass, looks like super red hot glass, like forming. But anyways, rotate the camera and then delete the dog. So dog disappears and the camera still sort of seems like it's in the same place. Is that rotation? Maybe. All right, how about this one? Rotate the dog. I literally see no difference. Move the boy outside. What is this? Not, these are their best examples? What am I missing here? Remove the headscarf and then move the camera. Okay, headscarf goes away. Everything else is the same. And then, yeah, I guess the camera was moved. It shows a window here and moved it back a little bit. So yeah. Dang, man, sorry. I thought that one was going to be a banger. Whenever I see 3D Gaussian splatting and 2D from 2D, it usually turns out to be a really interesting paper, but whatever. So I thought this research would be interesting to cover because when you're trying to teach a robot to move, one thing that would be nice is if you could like sketch a trajectory, like move your arm over here. Like if you had it on a screen, you could actually like, you know, put your finger right over the hand, move the hand to where it needs to go, and then like watch it perform that action. And that's what they're doing here, teaching robots to move by sketching trajectories. So diagrammic teaching helps robots learn to infer instructions from drawings. See how humans can infer complex instructions through sketches, we seek to empower robots to do the same. So like a lot of times you want to get a robot to do something better, you make a simulation for it to move around in. Sometimes it's kind of an evolutionary algorithm where it explores on its own. Sometimes you actually like physically have the robot and you move the hand or arm where it's supposed to go and you give it tons of examples like that, and then it figures out how exactly it can do something like grab an apple. But what this model is doing instead is it's sketching the desired movement, and then those sketches are actually being converted into 3D models via ray tracing. But I like it because it's giving more interpretation, like from kind of a hand-drawn rough estimate of what something wants to a more specific sort of CAD 3D model version. The ray tracing is going to be more precise. And that's going to allow the robot to understand and follow complex instructions without the direct human manipulation, but the human guidance. Okay, so here is an example of how you can teach a robot to push a box. You actually sketch on both views so it knows what a top view and a side view look like, how it should move, like just with the with your finger or an arrow or whatever. But now it's interesting because if you actually think about drawing an arrow or a route for a digital robotic arm to go through, the fact that you start in one spot and you move your finger across to make that line actually is the time access. Like it takes time to do that. So that can be automatically learned for the robot to think, okay, we start here and we end there. That's just built into the motion. And then if you have the camera looking at the same robotic hand in two different angles, when you sketch it in both angles, it starts to learn in 3 dimensions what you actually want. So if you have a top view and a side view and you sketch them both, then it can interpret the difference between those as what it needs for the X, Y, and then the time coordinate system. And then they sample 5 3D motion trajectories that come from the distribution model because you keep doing something similar with your, your pointer finger to like tell it what to do, and it kind of blends them all together. And then you see the learned trajectory in 3D Cartesian space is consistent with the user sketches. All right, next let's talk about, surviving the singularity, because what if AGI does come a lot quicker than everybody expects, and it does become superhuman right after that, and we're not really the dominant species on the planet in the sense that we're like a dog looking at a human, not totally understanding what it is that they're doing even when they communicate to us. Now, of course, a lot of people are like, that's just sci-fi stuff. We don't need to worry about that. Just show me the cool AI tools. But I kind of keeps me up at night thinking like we're not really prepared for this and like what it means, because people like me and the people I love are gonna maybe be dealing with that, and I want to be prepared or have some sense of what's going on. Then I came across this article written by Isabel Villasamel called "What Monkeys Can Teach Us About Surviving a Natural Disaster." And even though maybe this kind of stuff won't be that helpful, it's like the little bit we can do that seems in our control probably is worth doing. All right, and this article basically highlights a study that was done on macaque monkeys and how they had this like pretty amazing ability to adapt as a society when a hurricane kind of decimated their environment. So think about it. There's this natural disaster. It like messes with the population. Some of the monkeys don't make it. Many of the monkeys have completely different food sources and different environments they need to survive in. And the desire to make social interactions was especially strong in those that were previously more isolated. So the researchers found that they started grooming each other more and more. They just spent like a lot more time being like, hey, can I like touch you, clean your back? Like I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine kind of stuff. And then they took what I think is maybe the lesson we can start learning. I mean, this generally, even if you don't believe in AGI, this is probably just good. In general, during a catastrophe like this, they stopped spending so much time nurturing their strongest bonds and they started to expand, creating bonds with more people. But the point is that their behavior suggests that a survival strategy where you take a broader social network view provides better support in the time of crisis. Like I've always been somebody actually that was like, I just want a few close friends and have strong bonds with them. I don't need to like socialize with a bunch of random people that I have shallow connections with. However, when things get bad, it's the shallow connections, the ones that are kind of like on your radar, you know each other, but you don't spend a ton of time nurturing those relationships, that might be what you need to, you know, get a business going, to find a new job, to learn something new that you need that changes the direction of your life. So you do need to really, I think of it like the barbell strategy, where you kind of have like a couple, maybe a few close friends, so you get that kind of intimate connection that you need. And then a lot of kind of loose connections, like people that you might want to, you could, like, they're probably great people and you could spend a lot of time with them, but you just can't because you only have so much time to give. And try not to have a lot in between where you're like, you know, you spend a decent amount of time with them, but you don't really feel like you know them that well. And also you kind of know what they're about and like how you might work together in the future. And there's nothing there that you need to explore more. But the point is, the importance of your social ties in an extreme event is something you might want to start thinking about now. And that's why I've started feeling like a little bit guilty, because I see people like Matt Wolf, who is kind of like at the top of the industry I want to be in, like YouTuber focused on AI. And he's going to all these conferences. He was at like Microsoft Build and Google I/O, and he's going to be at Cisco Live here in Vegas. And I was like, dude, I got to start doing that, because he's making all those, you know, are arguably shallow connections, but to all these industry people. Then he's like doing this podcast where he's connecting with people. And I'm like, I'm just thankful I'm able to do a couple things with David Shapiro, and I am going to start trying to do more interviews on this channel. One, because I think there's good content there and I'm learning from it, and I'm going to try to make it highly edited, but also because it's important that I start understanding all the people in this space too, because there's so much cool stuff going on that I'm missing. And when things start changing really rapidly and fast, I'm going to want to have like a network of people that are like, whoa, here's all the changes I'm noticing over in my corner. You guys should know about it. And I can be like, in my corner, this, and then we can actually just all adapt as a society, as a group, as a community better. So that being said, let's check out my last video and just, you know, I guess what am I going to say? Bask in the success. Like, it's going pretty well. I mean, in 600 views in just 7 hours. Dude, I used to dream of numbers like that. I would just hope the entire video throughout the whole time it was up would get 300 views. So now to have like well over 1,000 in the first 7 hours is just mind-boggling. In fact, I bet when we clock in here, yeah, you always see more when you log in on my end, like through the analytics, than you do like if you're just watching it as a public-facing user. But yeah, I'm actually at 3,000. Thank God. That's awesome. 3,400 views in just the first 7 hours and 50 minutes. I launched today at 5 p.m., which I think is a pretty good time. Maybe people are coming off work, and then I was having success later at night, kind of catching in the morning, but I'm starting to like this 5 p.m. launch. Although arguably, I don't know how much the time really matters when you launch. But look, already 38 new subscribers. The numbers do tend to look a little better and then kind of skew off because I am starting to launch earlier. I used to launch like way late at night, which was when the most dead time was. But yeah, a lot of the info is still coming in on this video, so I'll just give you a quick recap of the last one. This was the Star Trek cat, $13.98 based on every 1,000 views, the CPM. So, and after sharing a bunch of that money with YouTube, because they get the big cut of it, I ended up with $22.92, not bad. All the money came from watch page ads, because I haven't taken on a sponsor yet. Don't be scared, guys. If I ever do, I might at some point, but I haven't yet. Like, our female numbers were looking great, 1.2%. I don't mean to alarm you, but there was a lot of females in the comment section this time. I like that I'm getting a more balanced sort of distribution curve here. It has a nice bell curve to it, but it extends further than usual. So like getting 8% above 65 and getting 3.4% below 18 or 18 to 24 was pretty surprising. I know a commenter asked me to go a little bit deeper into the geography, so I'm going to expand that for you. Yeah, and going past the top 5, which I always cover, it's India in 6th place, the Netherlands. Oh, that's interesting. I had a guy say he was from the Netherlands. I'm surprised so many. Spain, New Zealand, Sweden, that's where I'm from. Brazil, France, South America. Also, I'm Swedish and Danish, a mix. Poland, Switzerland, Russia ended up at 38. Denmark, there we go, 36. Japan, Norway, wow, Finland. So yeah, a lot of the Nordic countries, surprising. Wow, I've never actually gotten all the way down to this. So like a few people in Austria, Croatia, Israel, that's awesome. And yeah, going a little deeper into the United States, a lot of people like it broken down by state. California, it's the most people. I guess no surprise, it's kind of Silicon Valley and sort of the AI world. Although I sometimes feel like my stuff's not like technical enough for them, but I also want to appeal to a broader audience. I don't know. Texas coming in strong, Florida coming in strong, New York coming in strong. So yeah, California, Texas, Florida, New York. I mean, those are always the big states that we always talk about. And then Washington, maybe the Seattle vibe is coming in there a little bit. Nevada, dude, where's my home state? Take care of me, guys. Like, we're good. 1.9% of you. Where's Utah on this? I grew up in Utah. Where's Utah on this? Oh no, no Utah whatsoever. No Utah at all. Bro, I have some friends to call. You're not watching my videos? Dude, cities, it's all about London. So that's where my fans are, huh? Dude, I would love to go visit London again. I've only been once. It was beautiful. Sydney, love to go there too. Las Vegas. So yeah, overall looking really good. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all the support. Maybe if you wouldn't mind dropping this video link in like a Discord or an email thread list. Love to get this channel to a point where I'm making enough money to do it full time and just survive off YouTube income. Thank you very much, and we'll see you guys in the next video.